Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Sorry it's been a long time since my last video. Life sometimes still kicks you in the butt, but I'm hanging in there. Anyway, this is a game I recently played over the first weekend in September in Albany. I live in Binghamton, which is south, upstate New York, just above the Pennsylvania border, below Syracuse. This is played in Albany. This is the 139th New York State Chess Championship. Now, I've been told by the people that organize the tournament that this is definitely the longest continuously running tournament in the United States. It might even be the longest continuously running tournament in the world. At the end of this video, you'll see some clips from the playing hall, and the gentleman that was with me was taking some video as well. For those of you that don't want to see it, one of the clips has me flipping the bird, as we say here in America, but it's all in good fun. This is round one. Now, I was a little nervous. My game hasn't been that good lately, and I had the unfortunate circumstance to gain a few rating points, so I'm up to 15-13 in rating points. Now, the problem is with that is the two cutoffs for the sections were the under 1700 and the under 1500. So I'm next to the last lowest rated player in the section. So, saying that, I was a little concerned about that, but I figured I'd play on. So let's get to it. I'm white. I don't believe I can pronounce this young man's first name. He's Asian. I'll try it though. Kui Yilin as black. And we're going to go through it here. I'm black. Now the funny part is it starts off as a Scandinavian, as you'll see, and it transposes into an Alekin's chase defense. Knight takes. Bishop. Knight takes. Now unusually what he did was, the B pawn is the computer's choice as well, but you'll see a lot of the time that you'll see Queen F3. Because you're threatening, well, it's going to be made here shortly. But he decided to take with the pawn. So I thought to myself, okay, this young man is 155 rating points higher than me. Let's get the queens off the board. That way I'm going to be sizzling attacks. I just go E5. He goes bishop E3. I develop. He develops his other bishop. Now, I don't want to take that bishop, because after bishop takes, pawn takes, and it straightens out his pawns. I didn't want to do that, so I moved the bishop back. And it wasn't really a waste of tempo, because he wasted the tempo putting the bishop to D3. King E2, no point in casting when the queen's off. Bishop D5 is probably okay. Maybe F6. I decided to go F5. I'm going to just go for it. Get those pawns out there, control the center. F3. Now, believe it or not, we're on move 10. And it's like a 3/4 pawn advantage for me as black. And I'm pretty happy about that. And I can just tell that I had a good position here. I brought the knight to D7. And this is an interesting move here, and I don't understand it. Maybe if the young man ever sees this video, he can post in the comments. He went A3, and I don't know why. Developed my last minor piece. Takes, takes. Actually, in retrospect, what I probably should have done was maybe play knight here first, maybe give up the bishop. But he hits the knight now. This knight is going to be a real pain in his behind. I go knight A4. He checks. He's thinking he won a piece. He gave me a funny look like, oh, you're going to lose your knight. Didn't realize, of course, he didn't see that bishop D7. Bishop takes. King takes. Now, my king's on an open file now, so I'm a little leery. He goes C4. I bring the king right out of that open file. And this is one here that surprised me as well. King E1. He's probably trying to get his knight out, but I think this might have been a better route here, or maybe even here. King E1. So let's just harass his position for a while. I hit the C4 pawn. He's got to move it. Now I bring it up to C4, and that's really where I wanted to be. That's a really good spot for that knight. That's a big pain in his behind. King F2. And right now we're on move 19, and I have almost a 2-pawn advantage. And I'll tell you, for being 160 points down, and right now I'm not feeling cocky, but I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I can hold against these guys. Move my rook to grab the open file. He finally develops his knight. Now it's very strange. We're on move 20, and he finally developed his G knight. I figured, okay, let's bring that rook right in, but that was probably the best move, but I considered rook to D5 as well, but I want to get that rook right down the 7th. I wanted to start harassing his pawns. He decided to push. Now right now I have a 2 1/4 pawn advantage. So I move the other rook, of course. Double right up. Now I've got some guns there. He moves the rook to E1. To H rook. And this is where I kind of now lose my way, but rook on 8 to D3 is the computer's choice. King F6. Of course, you see why King F6. Because of this check, or this check, I can't take because of the rook. I said to go knight to B2. Even if he did check me, where's he going to go? He decided to move his king out of the way first. Didn't want this check here, hitting his king and his rook. I went there anyway, back to C4. He moved up, and I said, okay, to heck with it. I moved my king out of the way. So we're still going here. 2 1/4 pawn advantage for me still. My knight at C4 is just monster, and so are my double rooks. He's basically hemmed in. A4. I thought about this a while. The computer really likes rook on 8 to D3. I don't know why. Because it wins that pawn. As you can see, rook here. This knight isn't really guarding this pawn because he's pinned. That, I gotta be honest with you, I just plain old missed. I went F4. Computer didn't hate it, but didn't like it either. Just taking away squares. A5. Give this a lot of thought as well. It's none of the computer's top 3, but I want rook B2. Now, computer hated that. It took away, I'm almost up 2.5 pawns. Now it's down to 1 1/4. It likes A6. Knight B2. And knight E3. Which eventually that goes to. So you go rook A to D1. I bring the other rook down. He basically has to take, I take. Now I've got an advantage still. Rook to C1, guarding that pawn. Knight E3. Computer still likes G5 and A6 and King F5. I probably should have brought my king up. Knight E3. He went G3. I just went G and 5 to reinforce the pawn. He finally gets his king on E1 to challenge my rook. Rook A2, rook B2, it's the same. I decided to go B2. Now he brought his king up again, which is very unusual. Very unusual. I move my king over. Pawn up. And G takes. Now, a couple of moves prior to this, he offered me a draw. And he wasn't like the the pain in the neck kid. Do you want to draw? I want to draw. I want to draw. He asked nicely twice, and I just ignored it and kept moving. And he goes rook to G1. He's probably thinking, if I go knight to D5, and that makes him move the rook back to C1. And he offered me a draw, and I took it. It's a 2-point advantage still for me, but it was the first round, and I was happy to play decent against a much higher rated player. So I was pretty excited, and it's in the morning. Well, actually not too much in the morning. The first 4 rounds are 12 noon and 6 p.m. Over 2 days. It's a 6-round tournament. But I was, tired. I work a lot, so I figured, okay, I'll grab a draw from this kid as black. So there you have it, folks, from round 1 from my experience at the 139th New York State Chess Championship, played in Albany, New York in September 2017. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, it was an interesting game, and I haven't played a really, really serious tournament game in a long time. For those of you wondering, the time controls on this were 40 moves in 100 minutes, and the second time control is sudden death 30. Look for some small video footage of the playing hall and me. And as I always say, folks, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Yes, we have to make sure we show everybody in the world where you spend your time.
I think you're number 1. Just push record again and we'll stop. What are you getting married or something? Get a haircut?
I knew a guy that got, he was 4F, and then all of a sudden they said, you've got to report.
Oh yeah.
And out of the blue, he ended up having to report. He lasted 1 week, and then they realized he was a true 4F. And then they had to pay for all his all his injuries.
A lot of the guys that didn't meet all the physical requirements, they ended up, there's only 2 buttons. You get a 50-50 shot of getting it. Is it recording or no?
Yeah. Of course. Of course it's recording.
Okay, I'll wave then.
Okay.
Yeah, we get a little action. Move
Well,
a couple pieces out.
yeah, right.
Hey, look at this. Hey,
What do you think?
Isn't there, so you can.
Yeah, you got no opponent, so I guess you have to make do.
That's fine. I don't care about this picture. All right, that's.